Hi friends, hi, how's it going? How you doing today? Hopefully today finds you well. Today I am doing my recap on the brands I had sworn to try in 2021, letting you know how many of those brands I actually got to try, how many of them I failed at trying, and where they're going to sit in my lineup of brands to try next year. Well, this year, 2022. I hope that you're in for it, and if you are, please keep on watching. For those of you new here, hi, my name is Donna. I'm so happy that you found us today. I am a lover of all things high-end, colorful beauty and self-care. I also work in the beauty industry, get a lot of education on the products that I bring into my life, and I love to also give you that education. So I do a lot of reviews here on my channel. I do a lot of hauls. I do a lot of reviews and hauls. I also just love to chat about makeup, and you people are my people to do that with, because there isn't anybody in my personal life that loves watching me sit and talk about makeup till the cows come home, which is typically what I do. So I would love it if you stuck around and hit that subscribe button before you go. But with that said, let's roll in to the brands I swore to try in 2021 and how that actually panned out for us. All right, so I typically do this video every year. I think this is the third year that I'm doing this, and I've been on YouTube for just over 4 years at this point. I typically pick 10 brands, and last year I picked 14. Why I picked 14, I will never know, but some of them have been recurrences on my brands to try. Let's dig in and talk about the brands, talk about what I've tried, and then maybe think about what we're going to be doing for 2022 for brands to try, because that will be a separate video. I still have to think about it. All right, so the first of the brands that I wanted to try, in no particular order, would be Lethal Cosmetics. So Lethal Cosmetics is a brand that's actually been on my list, I think, for 2 years now. I really am intrigued by their whole system. I really am intrigued by even the powder products that they now have available as well. I love the aesthetic of that brand, and I hear nothing but great things about that brand. However, when it comes down to it, like, a lot of these are indie brands, I'm not even gonna lie. And I have a harder time thinking through purchases with indie brands as being worth it than I do if they come mainstream. It's not because they do less work. I'm sure that they do far more work than a regular mainstream brand, right? It's harder to get them. It's harder to return them should they come broken, or, you know, should you not love them. It just seems like it's a bigger hassle than what it's worth. They also are a smidge bit more expensive than most other brands, and while I understand that, it takes them forever to do what they're doing, I do understand that. I also know that there are indie brands out there that are killing it, and they're not charging an astronomical amount for what they offer. So when I think through the lens of wanting to try Lethal Cosmetics, like, I really thought that Teresa Was Dead collaboration was going to be my Lethal Cosmetics purchase of the year. And I just ultimately decided not to. And I think that when I think about it, like, I love going onto their website and putting it all together. You guys, it's super fun to do. I suggest you do it even if they're remotely on your, you know, purview. It's so much fun just to put a palette together and look at it all together. I love doing that, but when it comes down to it, the palettes that I put together are something like, I don't know, 70, 80 bucks for 12 shadows. And I think that that is just too much, in my opinion, for 12 shadows, when I know that I can get those same shadows in a different realm and not have the hassle of it all. When it comes down to it, that is the reason why I don't choose Lethal, why I haven't chosen Lethal yet. I want to. It will probably still remain on my list for 2022. because it just hasn't been on there long enough. And they are still one that I look at over and over and over again. They're not like to the point that Cleona was, where I had like a list of all the shades I want, but I could see them getting there. I have to really want it. And at this point, I haven't really wanted it, apparently, because I haven't purchased it yet. Give Me Glow. So Give Me Glow was, Give Me Glow and JD Glow, I think, are two that I was initially intrigued by because of Smoky Glow, Hannah, and they go by Jordan now. Initially, I think the channel name was Georgia. I cannot remember because it's been that long. Anyways, these two brands were initially implicated in my mind because of those people. And I don't know if it's, you know, I no longer watch them, or if it's like they've just fallen off of my radar. So Give Me Glow and JD Glow are no longer on my list. They probably won't be on my list going into 2022, but they are brands 2 and 3 that I also did not try on my list of brands to try in 2021. I have 2 more that I didn't try. Divina Cosmetics and M Cosmetics. Again, just not anybody that I look at anymore. And I don't even know, honestly, how M Cosmetics ended up on my list. They're very neutral, natural makeup, and that's just not my aesthetic. So why I ever thought I needed to try them is beyond me. Divina, now that's another story. They were on my list for probably 2 of the 3 years that I've been doing this as well, but and I think I'm intrigued because of their swatches. Like, their swatches of their shadows are phenomenal. That is one thing that they do a really great job of, but I just am not interested anymore. And I think that a lot of the reason, again, falls back to those that I was watching in the beauty space, being super interested in these brands, and I hear a lot of talk about them, and now I don't watch them anymore, so I don't see them anymore. So they have fallen off of my list as well. So with that being said, of the 14 brands that I had on my list to try, you just heard, I had 5 that I did not try. So I have to be honest, I'm pretty proud of myself, because last year and the year before, I didn't even try half of the brands that were on my list of brands to try. So I failed like big time. Right now, I think I've got a good, C minus, maybe C plus in this list of brands to try, because I did try 9 out of the 14 brands that are on my list. And I have a bonus brand that I tried for the first time this year that I'm going to talk about in this video, because I'm really excited about the brand. Actually, they've been out forever and I can't believe that I hadn't tried them before this point. Let's roll into the brands that I did try. One of the brands that I tried this year that I was so excited to try this year is Cleona Cosmetics. So if you know, if you've been around here, you certainly know. They've been on my brands to try for years. Ever since I started on YouTube, they've been on my brands to try. They, again, are an indie company. They're one of those companies that takes forever to get their products. Like, I ordered these and got these shadows 6 weeks later. So it takes a long time to get them. But you guys, oh my God, these I purchased 17 of their shadows, and I also ended up getting 1 as a free gift, which is gracious considering how much money I spent on these shadows. To get 1 eyeshadow for free was gracious. That's all I'm gonna say. I was super happy actually to get the free shadow too, because that put more into my collection. But you guys can't see the beauty of these shadows. They are just gorgeous. And these were made popular in my mind by Lauren May Beauty, who I still watch regularly, who like I take inspiration from on a daily on my channel. Like, I do a haul in retrospect that she made popular way back in the day. I've done, Sephora purchases 2020, Sephora purchases 2017. She also did those videos. Like, I take inspiration from her channel a lot. I love Lauren May Beauty. She's very inspirational because she's so unique in what she offers on this platform. These are shadows that I was drawn to by watching her. Now these are very much her aesthetic because they're sparkly and piecey and like kind of gritty and just really, really pretty. And they maybe aren't necessarily, some of them maybe aren't necessarily my makeup aesthetic, but these are so phenomenal. Like I can't even with some of these shadows, like this one here on the screen looks green. So you're seeing it as a green. It looks purple to me. It's the multichromal effect of these is just so phenomenal. And this that I have in my hot little hand right here cost me over $300. So like, what do you say about that? There's nothing much that you can say about that. But I got a really nice bonus. I decided to splurge on myself, and shocker, they were available and they were on a sale. So what would have cost me over $400 didn't, and I'm happy for that. And I got an extra one, so I'm also happy for that. And I am not regretful of this purchase at all. I am very happy that they came to me packaged the way they did. I'll put a picture up here if I still have it of how they came packaged. It was amazing how nicely these were packaged because they came a long way, right? From one end of Canada to Washington State. They came a long way. I was terrified that they were going to show up just shattered, and they didn't. None of them did. They were perfect and perfection and beautiful. The free one that they sent me is more of a duochrome than it is a multichrome, but I will never ever want for another multichrome in my collection besides these. There's no reason for it. So super happy to have these in my collection. Really glad I picked them up. The next brand that I brought into my collection in 2021 that was on my list of brands to try in 2021 was Kaleidos. I think they were made famous or made a household name with their Futurism collection, which is a collection that I still have FOMO over, that I still wish I could get all the dang palettes of. They got ever more so famous when they did the Escape Pod, and then they collabed with Angelica Nyquist. Angelica Nyquist is somebody that I watch all the time. I do take a lot of inspiration from her as well. Again, a person on the platform that is very unique with their content and somebody who I admire like a lot. It was announced right about the same time that I did my brands to try video for 2021, and I jumped on that bandwagon. I did purchase her collab with them, and this is a beautiful palette. I do have, I believe, a palette roulette on this palette that I will go ahead and link up in the cards. But I just, man, you know, the dark mattes in here are beautiful. This blue is even a beautiful blue to do. This teal is so beautiful. These three shadows right here are the most amazing eye look, and pop on any one of these shimmers in this palette. Beautiful. This is a beautiful palette. This is even more beautiful. Like, I also have a palette roulette on this palette, and this is probably one of my favorite palette roulettes of all time because I just had so much fun with this palette. I would purchase Kaleidos over and over and over again. And let's just remind ourselves that the two brands that I just spoke about are indie brands that it takes a long time to get. One's super expensive. One of them is, you know, kind of middle of the road expensive. They take forever to get. It took probably 5 weeks for me to get those palettes. Those were worth it palettes to me. So I don't know what's in my brain that says Lethal isn't as worth it as these, but that's where I'm at with Lethal right now. These were definitely worth it. I'm really super happy to have Kaleidos in my life. If I didn't have Cleona, I would still have Kaleidos, and Kaleidos does for me in my soul the same thing that those Cleona shadows do. The next one that I want to talk about is Glamlight. I bought 4 palettes from them. I bought the 2 paint palettes, and I bought these 2 palettes. So the cake palette and the donut palette. I still haven't tried the paint palettes, if I'm honest. But if these 2 palettes are any indication of how those paint palettes perform, I can't say that I'm mad at it. Now, Glamlight was an easier indie brand to reach reach into and try because their price point is phenomenal, if I'm honest. They also had it on a really great sale when I purchased it, and I got all 4 palettes. I got a loose highlighter, I got a brush, I got an eyeliner, I got a bunch of stuff, 6 lip glosses, and I got it all for like 70 bucks. So huge sale. So picking these up wasn't bad. Now their returns, I'm not sure what their return process looks like, but they're also US based, so it was just easier to purchase from them than it is a lot of other indie brands. These are amazing. Like, this one isn't one that I think I would pick up on a daily. I could put this into like maybe a palette purchase regrets when it comes down to it, just because of the color story. Like, I love it. Don't get me wrong. I had a really great time using it, but it's more of one of those kind of palettes that you have to use with other palettes, right? It's kind of a complementary palette versus an actual palette. But this cake palette, the quality of these shadows is just unparalleled. This could be the one and only rainbow palette in my collection, and I don't think I would be sad about it. I just think that they do a phenomenal job. I loved this palette. I am happy that I have Glamlight in my collection now. With that said, I'm not really drawn to a lot that they have out there for offer because they're very food palette centric, and I'm just not. I think that their last collection was kind of like a wine series collection. I'm also not a drinker, so it just doesn't appeal to me the way that it does to some people, but they have an amazing formulation. I also had by Beauty Bay on my brands to try, and this is the only palette that I purchased from by Beauty Bay, but I also purchased a blush from them. I haven't tried the blush, if I'm honest, but it came in a really nice sleek package. This palette wowed me. I really wish I had purchased, I cannot remember what the name, Magic Spellbound, something like that. Anyways, purple and blue palette. I have serious FOMO about not picking up that palette. This palette really, really shocked me. I would honestly give up my ABH Modern Renaissance and leave this palette in my collection. This was better than ABH Modern Renaissance. This was an amazing palette, really great formulation, stayed on really, really well. Loved this, and I would pick up more palettes from by Beauty Bay because of my experience with this palette. And their price point, you guys, is phenomenal. It's this palette was 12 bucks, I want to say, for 20 shades. I also wanted to pick up Be Perfect. This is the reason I wanted to try it, was the Stacey Marie Carnival collabs. I watched this YouTuber named Missa, phenomenal YouTube channel. She does some amazing eye looks, and she uses this palette a lot. She talks about this palette a lot. Robert Welsh also talks about this palette a lot. This is the quintessential perfect palette. It's got color, it's got neutrals, it's got everything that you need. It's got a good range of mattes and shimmers. It's perfect. It's a perfect palette. And this black is even an amazing black. Like, its formulation is phenomenal. But at the same time that I picked up this palette, I also picked up the Dream Big, Be Perfect, Manifesto, whatever palette. And I didn't really love this one as much. So again, these two palettes have a palette roulette done on them, and I implore you, please go watch those videos because you will be able to see the differences of opinion. I do like Be Perfect. I would probably pick up another palette from them, but for right now, I'm not going to because I have too much. The next one is Avaska. And Avaska actually came to me quite late, and shockingly, it came to me through Ipsy, which was very strange to me. I think it was through Ipsy. It might have been through FabFitFun. I ended up getting one of their bronzers. This is their Kissed by Santorini bronzer. It's a soft matte bronzing powder. I believe it was Samantha Ravindal that was talking about this brand at one point in time, and I was like, I'm gonna try them. Again, more on the natural side, totally not my makeup aesthetic, but there's always something, I guess, in as long as they're doing more than just eyeshadow, that I can pull from a brand, right? Blushes, highlights, bronzers, those kind of things. This powder is a wonderful powder. It's a beautiful powder. It's so soft in the pan. It feels like silk. It is just a really beautiful bronzer that blends out quite nicely. The one thing that I don't like about it is, as you can see on my hand, it does lean a little bit orange on my skin tone. So I think I just maybe got the wrong shade, and they have a ton of shades in their bronzers, which is more than I can say for a lot of other indie brands. So I might pick up a different shade of that, because this powder is so beautiful. It is such a beautiful powder on your face. It doesn't emphasize any kind of texture or aging or anything that's going on your skin. It's so soft in the pan. It feels like silk. It feels like the outside of the packaging. It feels like you're touching silk. I mean, I don't know. That's all I can say about it. It is a beautiful powder, and it sits on your skin so beautifully in a way that doesn't emphasize anything that you don't want to be emphasized. I just think that maybe I got the wrong shade. So I will continue to look at their products, continue to maybe pick up some of their products, but again, they're more on the natural end of beauty, so I probably won't be picking up an eyeshadow or anything like that from them, because they're very peachy coral. Now think of Samantha Ravindall and what she likes. My aesthetic obviously is way different, but I'm really happy to have that powder in my collection. Okay, the last three that were on my brands to try are Midas, Dior, and Patrick Ta. So Patrick Ta came into my life in 2020, actually, through the lens of this guy here, which is one of his duos. And this one is in Oh She's Different. So these are called the Double Take Cream and Powder Blush Duos. I think that these blush duos are phenomenal. First and foremost, I have really super dry skin, and it really is a chore to get a blush to stay on my skin long enough that you can see it midday, let alone at the end of the day. This cream blush is a blush that really kind of shocked me. I put it on my face at one point very early in the morning. I get ready for work between 6 and 7 o'clock most mornings. And at the end of the day, at 10 o'clock at night, when I was taking my makeup off, it was still on my face. So I was super shocked about it. So when I initially put together this video, I put together this video with the intention of trying more of Patrick Ta, not just this one item. So the only other two things that I purchased from Patrick Ta are also blushes. These are his monochrome Moment blushes, and this one is in She's Adorable, which is a beautiful like peachy blush, and then this one is in She's Seductive, and this is more of a like muted neutral tone blush. I love these. However, these don't stay on my face as well as that cream blush does. So I usually partner these with a cream blush of sorts. They are beautiful though, and they do stay on well. They just don't stay on as well as the cream blush. I want to pick up his bronzer duo with the cream and the powder bronzer. I just haven't at this point, but I am interested to try more from Patrick Ta. I do love what I have tried from Patrick Ta, and I'm glad to have tried all those things from Patrick Ta, but I don't know that he'll be on my list of brands to try in 2022, because I have tried his brand pretty significantly in the blush category. I'm happy to have it in my collection though, and if you guys need a real good blush to last throughout the entirety of the day, try his cream and powder blush duos. They are phenomenal. Midas Cosmetics, I ended up getting the Valentine's Day mystery box from them. I got 2 eyeshadow palettes, some lip glosses, some glitters, there was a lot in that box. Like, I was shocked at how much was in that box, to be honest. It was a $50 box, and there was easily $100 value in there. I did end up getting 2 palettes. I got this one, which is the Artistry Palette Volume 1. They sent also Volume 2. This one is the only palette that I still have in my collection. The 2 palettes were just so similar. I do have a palette roulette on these 2 palettes together as well. They were just too similar. I didn't need both of them in my collection, so I kept one, and the one that I preferred because it was darker, and gave the other one to my daughter. The lip glosses, y'all, their lip glosses are amazing. They are so nice. I am a lip gloss connoisseur, and their lip glosses are really, really nice. They are not sticky. They last quite some time. Like, I wouldn't put them into the same category as Lunar Beauty's lip glosses. I would put them into the same category as like a Fenty lip gloss, in my opinion. So like Lunar Beauty and Buxom are my favorite too. And then step down from that might be like Pat McGrath, Fenty. I would say that's where Midas lip glosses live for me. They're fantastic lip glosses. Also, their eyeshadows are pretty freaking rad too. So, and then the last one was Dior. Now, when I put Dior on this list, it was more about getting to know them more as a whole, as a brand, not just getting to know them through their mascara, which I already knew I loved. So I did purchase one of their highlighters. This is the Dior Skin Nude Luminizer, and this shade is an 05. It's kind of a pinky silver almost highlight, and it is so pretty. Such a pretty highlight. I love this highlight. It goes on so naturally if you need it to, but it also like can be built up to this like crazy shiny awesomeness. But I also tried the Dior Face and Body. This is such an amazing lightweight, almost full coverage foundation. Like it shocks me at how full coverage this is because it's very breathable. Your skin just moves and it moves with your skin. It doesn't fight against your skin like some foundations do. I would say that this is more of a more of a skin tint than it is a foundation, except for that it's got a crazy amount of coverage. So I tried that. I also tried the Dior Powder No Powder. And this was initially brought to my attention by Samantha March. This gives a slight bit of coverage. You can wear it on top of makeup or alone on its own, and it's going to do some really great things for your skin, to be honest. It makes my skin look very airbrushed. I love it. I am in the shade 3N. I got a good semblance of what their brand is, and I'm not sad that I have it in my life. I'm not sad that I spent the money on it. These aren't cheap, but they're also not the most expensive highlighter or foundation or powder that I have in my collection. So I would pick them again. I would purchase from them again for sure. So of the 14 brands that I actually had on my list, when I did my list, I've tried 9 of the 14 brands. So 5 of them went untouched. Of those 5 brands, I will probably bring only one of those brands into my 2022 list of brands to try in the future. But I wanted to talk about another brand that was kind of like a bonus brand for me. It's a brand that I tried this year that hadn't even really been on my radar until this year, and that is Lime Crime. You guys, where were you when I was asking about brands I needed to try? Because Lime Crime should have been on my list a long ass time ago. These shadows are so beautiful. They are stunning, and they are so pretty on your skin. Like, they don't lend to texture. They're just so pretty. And this palette glows in the dark. How cool is that? So have you guys tried Lime Crime? I would be interested to know what your thoughts are on it. I recently got this palette, so this will come in a palette roulette at some point in time, but my mama got me this palette. I'm super excited to try it. So yeah, that was my video on the brands that I had on my list in 2021 to try in 2021, how I fared. How do you think I fared? What brands did you have on your list in 2021? I would be interested to hear if you tried them, if you loved them, if you hated them. And what brands do you think need to be on my radar for 2022? Because if I'm honest, you guys, I'm having a real hard time coming up with brands to try in 2022. But I love doing this like little challenge to myself, and I would love to hear your thoughts and opinions down in the comment section. So be sure to leave me a comment down there. Let me know how you think I did and what brand you think I need to try this year in 2022. I'll do that video. It'll probably come to you later in January or February. With that said, yeah, I just hope that you guys are having an amazing day. I hope that your holiday season was awesome, your New Year's was awesome, and that you are looking forward to 2022 as I am looking forward to 2022. I hope that you and yours are well, that you're healthy, that you're safe, that you're getting along in this crazy world as best that you can. I hope that you all are loving each other, but loving each other from afar. And until next time, bye friends.